Hello, everyone that's just joining. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's conversation. I'm Dara Fumi. I am the community manager and social media manager here at Quidax. And tonight we are having the third edition of our Merchant Academy series. Over the past 2 weeks, we've talked with some of Quidax's pro P2P merchants on their trades, on how they've achieved success, on a few of their lessons from their experiences. And tonight is no different. Tonight I have Joe, aka Finlogic, here with us, coming to share his P2P experience with us, how he has leveled up, how he started, and what the future can look like for you if you're just getting started as a P2P merchant today. So welcome once again. Good to have you here. I'm going to hand over the mic to Joe to introduce himself. And if you're just joining us, I look forward to this conversation tonight. Hi, Phil.
Um, yeah, hello everybody. My name is Joseph Ofolabi. My trading name is like Joseph Baba, but it's also a group name for Finlogic Nigeria Limited. We're based in VI, and it's a long journey. So, for me, I started trading in 2017. So at that time we started with low volume of trading. I think we started then with at Naira Land. I was there with Chi Buzo and the current CEO of Quidax as well, who would trade a little bit here and there on Naira Land and all that. But the problem is like you're exposed to a lot of risk. Like there's a lot of risk involved when you're starting out because this is Nigeria. People are always trying to like cheat to who they're gonna cheat and so if you're not very careful, you're gonna run into a lot of problems because people are gonna like you know try to give you higher rate and all that and everything. So the first thing first that we have to establish is security of funds, because if your funds is not secure, it's nothing else matters, right? So the first thing you have to safeguard is the security of funds. So once you have that in place, you have your KYC, who to trust, and the good thing about Quidax is like Quidax lets you actually see merchants. Like you can see that okay, these merchants have a lot of experience as to new merchants. So if you're dealing with like large funds, you want someone who have like a little bit more experience. You just don't want to like just take risk with your money. So as to how I started, so we were trying to, at the time there is no P2P platform like that, so you just have to like trust someone. A lot of times we use escrow, at that time, you look for like a third party that both of you trust to do the business with, but then things go wrong a lot. So over time, as you do your transaction, people know that they can trust you. Like I said, trust is the foundation of everything. People realize that you can be trusted, then it's pretty much easy to just go up from there. So you just have to establish yourself. So the basic thing is like you need to establish yourself as like in this space where there's a lot of untrustworthy people and a lot of people that just bad people in general. You want to make yourself be like you have work ethics, you deliver on time, and you show up when you need to show up. So yeah.
Thank you, Joe, for that not so brief intro. You said a few interesting things that we can touch on as we continue our conversation. But one thing that that I've held on to right now is the fact that, like any other job, being a merchant is one that requires you to have integrity, to have discipline, to show up even when you don't want to show up, and to build up your reputation. I think that if people take it as a job that is serious to them, they'll do whatever they need to do to maintain it and to keep it going. So that's cool. You mentioned Naira Land being like the foundation of how you got started with crypto as a whole, and now with P2P trading. And you've also mentioned a few things that were present at the beginning and still present now, such as the escrow system. Would
Yeah.
you want to touch up a little bit about, how that works now with a system like Quidax, where you now have like a trusted party where you're trading with as a merchant?
Okay, so we'll just start from the basic from the beginning. So if you have like a public space, Naira is like a public space where anyone can just go and say, I want to trade. So if you don't have a lot of capital and you started in like Naira land, for example, you expose yourself to like a lot of risk, because sometimes it's difficult to find someone to trust because the idea is like, crypto transaction is irreversible. Once you send the money, your money is gone. So because of that features of crypto that you can't go to the police, there's literally nothing you can do when you send your money out. It's very attractive to scammers, so scammers love it because some scammers will even try and, give you, high rate and try to like lure you in. And once they know that you trust them, they just, strike you when so it's Naira is not a place you can say you want to establish a business on, at least for the long term. You can start there, but like, eventually you're going to run into a lot of problems because it's just easy for people to just get away with taking up your money, right? So the other part is the escrow system, right? So you have the escrow system where there's a third party that you trust, that both of you trust to establish a transaction. That also works, except in the way people try to manipulate. Like there's a lot of tricks that all these scammers and fraudsters use that makes it not to work after some certain time. And platforms like Quidax solve all that problem. So if you have a crypto, for example, as you want to sell crypto on Quidax, for example, you're not going to you have the power to say, oh, I want to release this crypto to this person, and you only do that after you have received your Naira. So if you don't get the Naira in your bank account, you don't release the money. That's the first thing. The other part is like, let's say later down the line you have problems with the money that the person sent to you. You can reach out to Quidax that I did trade on social date and there's a problem with the bank account. Oh, the Quidax is going to be like, oh, we know this person is verified, is a verified merchant. We're able to assist you, on that. Is someone asking a question here?
Not yet. I dropped the comment.
Okay, so so that's what I said. So it's so to level up as in crypto is to establish yourself. Once people see you as someone that can be trusted, and a lot of people don't know. Most people just want quick money. They want money that, oh, I need 50 million. I'm looking to make 50 million at once. You can do that, but it's not a sustainable way to make money. Because eventually, once people realize that, oh, this is someone that we cannot trust, or this is someone that is, is not straightforward, eventually you're not gonna be able to get there, So, yeah. So I don't know if I answered the questions because I said a lot
Yes.
of things.
I think that one important thing you've touched upon a few, but one of the most important, I think, is the fact that, especially in P2P trades where it's peer-to-peer, the presence or existence of an unbiased third party, right, who can
Exactly.
control the movement of the funds and who can also be a resource for, um, finalizing any disputes or ensuring that things go on smoothly is very important. And that is one of the things that Quidax provides as a P2P platform and service. So, yes, thank you for touching up on that very, very important point.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, the other thing that you also mentioned, and you've hammered on even from the beginning, was becoming a trustworthy person as a P2P merchant. Can you highlight a few things that would stand you out as somebody that can be trusted? How can you build your reputation as a trustworthy person in this space?
Okay, so that's very good. So, like I said, the most important thing in business and in life in general is reputation. Yeah, reputation, because you have to understand that we live in a very chaotic world, right? People don't know who to trust. And if you can establish yourself as that a person that is rock solid, that is whatever comes, you have integrity. There is a lot of advantages to that, and people really don't talk about it. Like, there's a lot of advantage in being trustworthy and having good work ethics. So one of the ways you can achieve that is, when you agree, when you have a trade, for example, you have to set the condition of the trade that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is how long it's going to take to finalize everything. You have to keep to your end of bargain. Like, you have to make sure that you do what you actually say you're going to do. So it's extremely important to be trustworthy. You don't short pay people. Like, you said the payment is 1 million naira, and you're paying, say, 900, and you just take maybe 10,000 naira or something. Or let's say the payment is 10 million naira, you just take 5,000 naira. That is dishonest, because even though the money you take out is small, you're still a dishonest person, because you didn't say that at the beginning, that you're gonna take so fee out of it. And also, a lot of people would list rate that, oh, this is the rate, and then they're gonna like change it, in the middle of it, and be like, oh, the market didn't favor me, I'm gonna change the rate and all that. So when you do that, you're showing yourself that you're not really going to make it far into the business. So yeah, so like I said, like, being trustworthy and having integrity, and you have to understand that it's not all about you. You have to put other people business, because like other people also depend on the business, as it may be. So you have to, like, know that, okay, other people's source of living, other people's source of livelihood is in line as well. So you have to be trustworthy in that. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, I think we've established that fact and that much. Although I do want to ask like one more question on this line of integrity and trustworthiness. We know that so far, right, across board, P2P kind of has a very sensitive reputation where people are not fully on board with whether they can trust merchants or not, or whether they can trust the system or not. It's like, okay, why has P2P sustained, and why is it something that we still refer to and use in spite of the challenges that are around the industry? Why is it still a useful way to make transactions and to make payments within crypto, especially? And why
Yeah.
exactly are you also still in this business?
Okay.
Hi,
So
Deborah.
you ask a lot of questions, so I'm going to start. So for us at Finlogic, we do cross-border transactions. So the P2P that we do goes beyond just crypto. Like, we do in real dollars, and not just dollar. We do Canadian dollars, Chinese yuan, Japanese yen, and pounds, euro, you name it, like that. So because we do in physical dollars, like I said, the kind of P2P we do, it's not just crypto alone. So for example, we have a partner in Canada that has like Canada dollar, and the person needs to convert the Canada dollar to pounds, for example. You need a P2P that, oh, I have a pound, but I'm looking for Canada dollars. Then you match it together, and then you combine it. It's also like P2P, in a way. So so I just want to like establish the fact that it's not just crypto alone. If you're dealing with cross-border exchange, for example, crypto is just a one aspect of it. There's still like a lot of bigger picture that a lot of people don't know. So it all goes back to being trustworthy, right? Sorry, so why am I still so one of the things why we're still in crypto, despite all the challenges, is because, like I said, people know that when they come to us, right, they're safe, their their money is secured, there's no downside from trading with us. I mean, it's something that we have established for the past 2017. That's 7 years ago, I think. So we've established that from 7 years ago that we are someone that is we're very trustworthy, and you can rely on our services. So it's the reason why we're able to stay in the business despite all the others and challenges that exist in the space.
Thank you for sharing that. It's good to also remember that P2P, as much as it is a very core concept in crypto, it's also kind of like a fundamental financial idea dating back to trade by barter, looking for somebody that has this and you want it, and you that you have that and you want something they have, and pairing them to exchange. And now we're talking currency, not just shells or coins or whatever. But I
Yeah.
want to touch up on also how you establish yourself as a legitimate business within the P2P space in crypto and beyond your reputation and the integrity that you have. What are some business principle or business ways that you've also been able to establish your legitimacy in this business?
All right. So, like I said, to run a business, you can't just to run a successful business, right? You can't just think about profit, profit, profit. Like, there will be times that you're gonna lose money. It's just normal. It's just so if you can't stomach the idea that you are going to lose money, you should not go into business at all. So a lot of people just shut down when they run into losses. Like, if the loss is like a lot, they just mentally shut down and they go off. And almost all businessmen go to that phase in life whereby things just are not uncertain and all that. So the most important thing is you have to be resilient, and that this is the part of business. It goes up and goes down. It's not You're not going to have like a smooth ride to the top. You're going to have a lot of down moments, and once you know that in your brain, when things bad happen, you just know that, okay, this is a stepping stone. I just have to be calm. I just have to resolve these things, to get to the next level. And how do you also go back forward? Okay, how do I make sure that this doesn't happen again? So another thing that you have to know is that if anything is too good to be true, it usually isn't. If someone is promising you that, oh, do this thing, you're gonna make 10 times, you're gonna make 300 times. These things, they're mostly not true. A lot of if someone is giving you 20x, 30x on all those things, they're not true, because reality just don't work that way. Reality works in such a way that a steady, simple, steady growth. So you just have to understand that, okay, why would someone say, oh, someone is offering you a rate, for example, and you realize the rate is like 30, 40 naira above the market rate. You already know that something is wrong here. So you also need to actually use your brain so that you don't get into unnecessary problems. So yeah.
Hmm. So, as I said, we should be on the lookout for offers that may look too good to be true, even though as a merchant, you will also want to offer the best offers to your customers. You want to give them the best deals. You want them to know that with you, they get a better experience. But at the same time, you also, as a customer, have to look out for, pitfalls or options that may just be too good to be true. So it's a very interesting balance there. But I also want to ask, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face in your journey within the P2P crypto ecosystem and also generally in your business? You've mentioned being resilient, you mentioned problem solving, but what are a few examples that you can share with us
Uh,
of some issues that you've
Um,
overcome?
it's when it comes to problems, I can't even start mentioning the amount of money that I've lost in total would get you like maybe 2 houses in Ikoyi in total, like if I should put everything together. So, but the good thing is like people who are getting started now, they don't have to because when we started when there is no structure. There was no structure in 2017, for example, to protect people from all those that we had to go through. So that's why people who want to get into this kind of business have to understand the guardrails and to understand that there's everything is a process, and it's not a get rich quick scheme. It is slow, very slow and steady process. And like I said, the most important thing is people need to know that you can be trusted. And that's the only way you can actually make money. Nothing else matter. People need to once people know that okay, you can be trusted, it's the only way to the top. So the pitfalls in 2017 when we started, at that time we weren't using stable coins, we were just using USD, Bitcoin at that time. So at that time, Bitcoin was like I think around $2,000 or so, but it would fluctuate significantly, and a lot of times you will incur a lot of losses. And at that time when we started, we were doing like we have some Chinese merchants that we would work with. So I would again for people who are just joining, we are into cross-border transactions. So we have customers in that do importation. So we just take crypto and we help them pay for their goods like overseas. So that's basically what we do. So a lot of the time when we send cryptos to our partners overseas, they will just some of them maybe after working with us for like 6 months, they will just take the crypto and be like they run away with all of our money. After we've established trust with them, and 6 months, and then the first one was in 2017. At the time, I think it was around $35,000 or something like that. $35,000 at the time was a lot of money to me because I didn't really have a lot, when we started, and I had to shut down the entire business and shut it down for a while. Then, after a while, we go back up, and then after a while, also we got into a lot of problems, with CBN and compliance and all that. Then we're able to secure IMT license from Central Bank of Nigeria, so it helps a little bit in the compliance part. So and the other problem that we also faced was one of our customers also did a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of like people who just want to take your money out, and the next one will fall into was around like $120,000, and that was around like 2021, I think. And yeah, so then in just last year, 2024, we lost another like $50,000. And these are a lot of money. Like, if you convert it to Naira, that these are not like, small money. And yeah, but the good thing is like at every time that we're losing like huge sum of money, I just took it as a learning curve and stepping stone to make sure that I don't fall into the same pit twice. So each time, so it takes a while to be able to build. So what we did from last year is to actually actually look for all the leakages where people might be able to, take advantage of us and try to cheat us. So we blocked all those assets off. And for the past 2 years, like for the past, I'd say, yeah, 2 years now, we've not really have any of those problems anymore because we've done a lot of work and we've done a lot of simulation and a lot of like, brain racking to make sure that, we don't fall into for all these problems again. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. It's good to know that, as you said initially at the beginning of the conversation, that loss is a part of business and there's no smooth path to the top. You go through hills and valleys. But I want to touch up on a few things before I move on from the subject in terms of the things that you learned from each of these challenges or drawbacks. Was there something new you learned either about yourself or about the business, or just things to look out for that helped you to overcome future challenges like
Yeah.
that?
So thank you very much, Dara. So the most important thing you also have to learn is that if you're running a business with someone, right, and then you have to ask yourself, what would happen if this person runs away? Like, is there, like, if I'm sending my cryptocurrency to this person, for example, and this person run away, what am I going to do? You know, and if the answer in your brain is nothing, then you're making a very big mistake. So you have to like learn that. So you can't just be sending cryptocurrency to someone in USA, even someone in Ghana, someone that you don't like. If you have to ask yourself, they are going to run away. What am I going to do after that? So if you don't have a way to actually answer that question, you're making it. Of course, you might have successful transaction. A lot of people, once you have like one or two successful transactions, they be like, okay, this person is good, but it's not really true. The problem is because of the nature of this business, there's, like I said, it's a lot of ups and downs. People will be like, okay, I'm going to, like, someone who took our money the last time worked with us for like 6 years, and for 6 years he never took our money, not even once. And then after the 6 years, I think it said he was going for a divorce or something like that. He said he had some personal problem, and because of that, it took everybody's money away. And there's nothing we can do because the person is in China. So you have to actually ask yourself that, if this person runs away today, is there a way to get the person? If the answer is nothing you can do, I'm sorry, you're making very, very big mistake. So that's the first thing that you have to learn. And also, like I said earlier, it's all about resilience, right? Resilience and confidence that you're going to be successful, because it's not going to be easy. Most of the problem that you're going to face now, it comes from the fluctuation of naira. Because of the way naira works nowadays, it's also like going up and down. And if you're a merchant or a trader and whatnot, you have to understand that sometimes you're going to get caught in that fluctuation and you're going to lose money. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of life. It's up, little loss here and there. Of course, it's hard, it's painful, but you just have to stomach it and look at the bigger picture. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And just congratulations on surviving so far and on your resilience. I think that's a mark of a business that would definitely last. All right, we've spoken a bit about failures and loss and marks that happen on the way, but how do you know that you are succeeding in this industry? What are the marks of success? What are the things you look out for to see I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing? What are a few things that you can point out to for P2P merchants that are just starting in this space?
All right. So that is really, 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 really good question, to be honest. That's a really good question. In fact, it's probably one of the most important things you've asked so far, is that how do you know that you're on the right track? So the first thing you have to ask yourself as a trader is, what do I want out of life? It's the answer is going to be different for everybody, right? It's not going to be the same for everybody. So if part of your what you want out of life is you want to be independent, right? And you want your greater goal is to be successful on your own by yourself, that is going to come in very handy when you run into problem. But you are going to run into problem. I'm not like causing. It's just natural to run into. You're going to run into problems, right? So once you have they call it self identity. I don't know if I'm using it. It's called like identity. So you have to know yourself first. Like, who am I? And what am I capable of? What do I want to achieve? Once you have that down, right? And you, when problem comes, the thought, maybe you should quit, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, you know, um, those internal thoughts of self-identity that you've had, it's going to come to place. Another thing is, like, if you are able to do crypto, right, and you are able to pay your bills out of it, say you're able to afford to pay your rent, you're able to, like, at least, live, you're doing the right thing. You're on track, though it might seem cloudy right now, but if you are able to establish yourself in the long term, um, things are going to get better. You just have to trust yourself on that. So, yeah, so that's how you know that you're on the right track, So, yeah,
Thank you. To know that you're on the right track, you need to determine what you want for yourself, and
exactly.
then you can begin to say if that's working out, right? If the results you're seeing are in line with the things that you want and desire, then you are most likely on the right track.
Yeah. So
Um,
then it also matters, so that when you run into problems, also you have that at the back of your mind that, okay, I was able to do this, I was able to do that. So it also helps in a way. Yeah.
I was going to talk about just how long it takes, right? You said that this is not a rich quick scheme. It takes a while to build up your reputation, your integrity, understanding the business, and it can just be a slow process. But
Yeah.
how long do you think that one should have in mind as they begin their journey into this space?
Right. So there is no time limit. So to be a businessman, you have to be creative, right? So it's all about how you position yourself. So let's say you're just starting up, right? I'm assuming you're in like a university, so and then you're asking yourself, how do I get ahead? How do I get more people? You can't just stay in your room and then wait for opportunities to come to you. So you have to position yourself by going out, marketing yourself, online spaces. Just there's a lot of avenue where you can make yourself seen in this world, So the thing is that you gotta make yourself seen. So if you put more work into reaching out to people, talking to people, and try to actually solve problems. So it's more like, so you need to be able to solve. So business is all about the art of problem solving, right? So if you can solve problems for someone using crypto, you know, it opens a lot of doors for you. Trust me on this one. So if you're able to solve problem, you're gonna get to your goal points faster than someone who's just sitting down in their room and waiting for opportunities to come to them, right? So you have to be bold. So if you are very bold, you put yourself out there, you go out of your way to do things that most people are too shy to do or they don't want to do and all that, you will get there faster, than someone who's just waiting for Mr. A to refer me. I'm waiting for and relying on, and all that. So when you put in work, the results, it might not even show immediately, but trust me, it over a time, like for example, like when I got my first office in trade fair, for example, I paid a lot of money, take a lot of money to set it up to get an office and pay. And I was paying salary. I was not making any profit for like the first 6 months. Trust you, I was pumping money, paying for electricity, paying for out of my own money. The business itself was not really sustaining itself, But I noticed that, okay, we're able to find maybe one, two customers a month, new customers a month, and I know in my brain that, okay, though it's not working well right now, if I keep up this pace, at which I'm getting one or two customers a month, eventually I'm going to get there. And and to God be the glory, what happened was those customers, those one or two customers, they were the one that was now refined the bigger guys. That we know someone that is trustworthy, we know someone that is deep, we know someone like that. So a lot of times, if you put yourself out there, you are putting all the work, you're not just sitting in your own room, and not doing, the work, it may not work out immediately. You understand? You might feel frustrated, but trust me, eventually, if you're consistent and you have that strong will to persevere, eventually it's going to work out for you. So the timeline, it's hard to say. It's going to vary for it. There's no, if this is, like I said, this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's mostly dependent on the individual. Yeah. And how much you are willing to take
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Cool. This is a good place to bring Deborah in to just run through once again, even why we're here, why we're discussing this. P2P is still very new on Quidax. I want to know if there's any interesting things that the team, the product team, and Deborah herself has noticed in how people are using P2P on Quidax. Maybe some of the issues that are recurring that we can clear up, or maybe something you've learned from the past few weeks of having this feature live. Welcome, Deborah, to this conversation. Deborah has been here from the start, and as she should be, she's one of the people driving the P2P efforts at Quidax, and it's good to have you. Hi, Deborah.
Hi there for me, and hi Joe, and thank you so much for the insights that you've shared. I've even learned some things from you as well on this call. So thanks so much for honoring this invitation and sharing what you've shared with us. Um, so in terms of like user behavior and things I've noticed and I've seen, you actually talked about trust a lot, and
Yeah.
you are absolutely correct. It takes a lot of trust to be able to like perform some, as in to actually perform P2P trade, and I've seen that happen. And that's why, as product managers, we build with the users in mind. We observe, we see what is going on, we look at the user behavior. Why are users behaving or doing or performing certain actions? And I think this is a good place to add that based on these insights that we have, the team is working on, building um, features that will actually enhance trust into the product. So take, for example, ratings and reviews. We've seen that it's important for, traders to know who they're trading with. You actually talked extensively about knowing the person that you're trading with, checking out their profile, on the P2P platform. And one of the things we want to introduce is, okay, we want to be able to give traders the opportunity to be able to rate themselves, to also provide reviews. And in some way, this can, for a newbie, for someone who is coming on board for the first time to trade, right? When you see some of the reviews and ratings of the merchants, right, you can tell that, okay, this person is actually a legit and good merchant, and probably someone with a low trade or rating score you can also tell that, okay, maybe this is a noble area. But I know that for a fact that one of the things that we've done at Quidax is to aggressively verify, like put verification mechanisms in place for the merchants that we're bringing on board. We to some extent we've been able to filter out the bad actors, right? And also ensure that whoever that is coming on board has done proper KYC. And we have sufficient information about that particular merchant. So just to just buttress the point of trust in P2P trading, right? Like while we have done some groundwork in ensuring that the merchants coming on board are well vetted, we're also including some trust features that would enhance the product. So things like ratings and reviews, like I mentioned earlier, and even badges, right? We're also awarding badges to merchants that started with us, and even to also identify verified and super merchants as well. So that can also give you some sort of idea on, okay, for this person to have been trading on P2P for this period of time, it means that there's some sort of credibility to their name, right? So just wanted to just put that out for the badge feature that will be rolling out very soon. I think sometime this week. So guys, please watch out for that update. Um, I think another feature that will be rolling out soon, which to answer your question, Dara, from in terms of what we've noticed, we also noticed that notification is a very big factor um in how a trade happens or how a trade goes, basically. So the success of a trade is very, very big on, like, notification plays a very big factor actually on that. And that's why we're enhancing our notification system by introducing push notifications as well. We'll be rolling that out very soon because we noticed that in terms of so when a trade is initiated and some people cancel in the process because they haven't gotten maybe some, or they were not notified, or probably they did not get to see any form of notification. Some people don't check their emails, right? So that's another behavior that we actually noticed. Like, people don't really check emails. So you want to put notifications literally at your fingertips. So you'll be able to get notified when a trade is initiated, when it's completed, basically real-time information on how that trade is going on. So that will be rolled out very soon as well. Those are like the two big things we've actually noticed, notification system, and
Yeah.
also building trust levers into the product.
That's interesting. So that's like, and I like that you share this, especially the notification, because I can also relate, right? Sometimes you're in the middle of a trade, you've already probably gotten the money, but you've gotten distracted, distributing the funds or paying for whatever, and you've forgotten to close out your trade, or the person has sent in the money, you've not acknowledged it. And I like that the new features we are rolling out affect not just the merchant, but also the traders and users of P2P. As a customer, I want to be notified when my trade has been accepted. And as a merchant, I want to be able to show that, I'm trustworthy, I've successfully completed these trades, and etc. Just a
Yeah.
random question. What should people look out for when um, taking note of the verification of a merchant? Should it be the number of trades that they have as a whole? Because, if you've done a whole lot of trades, it shows that people keep on coming back to you. Or should it be like maybe a satisfaction rating, like, if you're in the 90th percentile, which one should take more weight when you're considering who to trade? And I think I also throw this to Joe to hear his opinion, but you first, Deborah.
Okay, because I was gonna say Joe should answer first, but yeah, based on what we've seen, right? So there's a credibility score that is visible on each merchant's profile. So I would say watch out for that credibility score, because what makes up that score is basically your completion rate time, your response time as well, also the number of disputes that's been raised against you as well. So it basically just sums up. So it's a credibility score. So I think that's one of the things you should also watch out for. But even beyond that, you should also watch out for um so I think this is even going out of scope for the question you asked, but I would say also watch out for the rates, if it's favorable to you, as well as the volumes that's been set, the minimum and maximum volumes that has been set as well. But yeah, to just answer your question, the credibility score. But also to add to that, another interesting update that we're rolling out soon, sometime this quarter actually, is that we want to break down this credibility score and make it more granular. So you'll see things like completion rate time, unique traders that this merchant has traded with. You'll see things like their response time as well. You know, Are they do they respond fast, or are they the type of merchants that would just ignore your order? You would also see things like the ratings and reviews that I talked about as well. And yeah, so we want to even like extract, the logic, the things that actually make up that credibility score, and put it, make it forefront, so you can actually, it's glaring to you, and that can even help you to make more informed decision.
Thank you, Devs. Looking forward to all the additions that make trading P2P on Quidax more robust and the number one choice for our customers. Hi, Joe. Welcome back to the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, the floor is yours. I guess you still have my
So,
question.
yeah, so I think she thank you very much, Dara and Deborah. So she said everything. So you can't just look at one metrics and then make your decision based off of that. You have to look at the entire pictures. So you have to look at number of trades, if that is visible. Someone with like 2,000 trades, that completed trades is likely to be a trustworthy person. And then you look at the completion rate. Do they just take orders and cancel it when they feel like, oh, the rate is not convenient, it went down, they just cancel people's order. So you have to look at that one as well, because that is a risky behavior. People who behave like that would, they have low risk tolerance. So you look at that, and also the reviews. It matters. So if you look at someone with say 20 bad reviews and then 5 good reviews, you already know that the person is not, that straight. So, but if someone have like 1,000 good reviews and maybe 3 or 4 bad reviews, you know that, okay, this is a solid person, right? So, and also you look at, she mentioned something about credibility score. I've not seen that yet, but that will be very interesting, because, something that puts everything into place. And then you look at volumes matters a lot. So traders that someone could have a high trade. Maybe they're just doing business with like 3 people, for example, but they don't have like, how do I say this thing? They have high number of trades, but it's small transactions. So at the end of the day, though the number of trade completed is might be high, but the volume is nothing to write home about, right? So you have to look at the volume of trade you are doing as well. And then, so the smart thing to do is to look at all that metrics and then put it into like, maybe a box. Then it gives you that, okay, this is trustworthy person, right? And then yeah. And also, like I said, you also have to understand, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not. Sorry, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not good or true. So yeah.
If it's too good to be true, it's probably neither true nor good. Damn.
Exactly, that's the right way. Yeah.
That's dangerous. I'm glad to see that we have people dropping in comments and questions in the Q&A box. Please, the floor is open for you to drop your questions for Joe and for Deborah and myself on the conversation we've had so far. Click on the multiple dots on your screen if you can see that, and then click on Q&A and ask your question or drop your comment. But we have a comment here, and I think Deborah has addressed this in terms of opening up more opportunities for communication and also for notification. But this person said there should be an icon, like a message icon, when there's a dispute in a trade or when there's a new message in the P2P chat inbox, so that you can read your unread messages aside from your email notification. But yeah, I think Deborah already mentioned that there would be multiple means of notifying you, especially push notifications. But Deborah, anything to add to this?
Um, well, you've actually said it, but in addition, right, would also enable in-app notifications as well. So this is different from push notifications. But I also like the suggestion, which talks about like an icon that signifies that, oh, there's a new message, in your in as well. It's not an inbox specific, but on the chat feature. So that's been noted. Yeah. So thanks for that.
Thank you. Okay. We have another question asking if Joe can shed more light on how to place buy and sell trade ads. The person says that they're a newbie. So how should we, or what should you think about when you're placing your ads as a merchant? This is in line
Okay.
with the question I also had around how do you look at your rates? But let Joe answer this question first.
Okay, so I can see the question. So the person is asking that we're already talking about being judged on number of trades, and if you're a newbie, you're at a huge disadvantage, right? Because you don't have the numbers that's going to make people trust you because you're a newbie. So you can't look at it that way. So once if you look at it that way, you're making a mistake. Like I said, it's not a get rich, it takes time, right? So what you can do in your case is like, okay, you can just start and then just start as a merchant. You can do that, but it might be difficult at the point. So you can go on the buy side, and maybe list your ads on the buy side. That okay, this is the rate I'm offering. Someone can buy from you can use the buy options, right? Or you can just try to like do some trades on there to build up your numbers over time. Just do multiple trades, you're building up your numbers. People will notice. If you have like maybe 10 trades, you're better than someone who has zero. So if you look at it that way, I have 10 completed trades. And it's even better than that. But Quidax is not like it's just starting. So there is not much difference between you and every other person, right? So you have a very good opportunity if you start now, because there is not much difference between you and other people, right? So having one or two trades puts you ahead of someone with zero. So like I said, you just have to start. You get so once you start, it will be slow, but trust me, eventually you will get there. It's a slow process. As long as you can persevere, you'll get there. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Just get started, and you don't have to start from one side of the bargain or of the trade. You can start as a buyer, see how it even works, what's the experience when somebody is buying from you, and that also increases your own reputation when you move to the trader side. So thanks for that insight. That's very interesting. Um, let's see. Somebody is asking here, can you trade consecutively with just one trader when the terms price and everything is okay? Hope there's no restriction to that. Is there any restriction to picking who you trade with?
No, there is no restriction actually, but it's advisable that you have like multiple traders trading with you. But right now there are no restrictions. But I even wanted to just speak to the previous question, which is I was going to say that feel free to um like so for people that you've traded with in the past, or maybe on other platforms or off platform, please feel free to bring them on board to trade with you as well. I'm pretty sure you have like a community of traders, so as in that can even be like a good start, or a quick, if or a or something that can fast track your progress, when you tell other people that have traded with you in the past to just come on board on and start trading with you on Quidax. Just wanted to just point that out as well.
Right, Joe, this person is asking, Philip Obama is asking, to become a P2P trader, am I required to register a business? Or what's your advice around incorporating a business as a P2P trader?
Okay, so that's actually a really good business, a really good question. So it depends. So the reason why you need a business account is for limit problems, because like if you're doing large transactions, there is a limit to what you can do with your own personal account, before you reach limit. So it's going to like affect your trades if you can't do like that volume, and then you have orders, and then you can't you know trade more because you have limits. So that's where you should um incorporate, so you can incorporate your you can incorporate, then you know there's a lot of banks that are friendly with P2P and crypto, I think Providence Bank is a really good idea, where you can start from. And then I think Kuda, then there's other banks like Fidelity, Premium Trust Bank, so those banks are very, very, very crypto friendly. And some microfinance bank as well that you can work with to start, and they give you really good limits that makes your crypto um, run smoothly from the start. But if your volume is not up to that, like I said, don't just start first. As it goes on, you are going to progress a little bit. So if you only have your personal account, you can start with that. In fact, it's advisable when you're starting to use your own personal name so that you don't run into problems, and because a lot of people be like, oh, you're paying from so people, you understand? So when you start with your own personal name, right, then it's better that way. Then as time goes on, you can take it up from there.
Thank you for that insight, Joe. I hope that has answered the question. Yeah, you start where you are, and as you go on, you learn, you have experiences, and you know the right things to do based on those experiences. Deborah, Anonymous is asking that, and let's just ask. Says, I don't know if this has been implemented, but can we have chats with merchants before payment to ask for any concerns or notify them when we're making a transaction? So is there a chat box that people can use to interact during a P2P trade?
Yeah, this exists actually. So there is a chat feature on the platform. So when you initiate a trade, you can chat with the person that you're trading with, and you can even upload payment receipts as well. So this exists at the moment. Um,
Yes.
I would also advise that you please update your app yeah, regularly, because we'll be rolling out a lot of updates in the next few weeks.
Cool. Thank you for that, Deborah. We're running out of time, and our chat has been very interesting. I hope that it has been useful to all of us here. I'll take the last two questions, and I think they're for Joe, and we can just combine them as we wrap up tonight. First question is whether or not anyone needs a lawyer to start working in P2P full time. Um, Joe has mentioned a few banks that are P2P and crypto friendly. You can make your research, you can ask people, but do you think there needs to be any legal dimension in your work as a merchant?
So if you're starting out with just starting out with low volume, like I said, it depends. So if you're starting out with low volume, you typically wouldn't need lawyers if you are doing like small transactions, because even if something bad happens, most lawyers or banks will not be interested in resolving, if the money is like very small. But as you go up, there are some startups right now, some law firms that offer general service to crypto users, like um, crypto merchants, crypto people. That's just what they're just fintech friendly lawyer, and they charge, you just pay like maybe a 1 year fee or something like that. And then if then once you like rise up, you are doing like good volume. By good volume, I mean like you start doing like maybe 10 million naira a day, something like that, or something higher than that, then those ones might come in handy. But if you are like a very big merchant, then you would need, a pass. Like I said, it's stage by stage, right? So if you are just starting out, you wouldn't worry about lawyer. Your worry must you just make sure that you are very cautious. You make sure that nobody's taking advantage of you. You make sure that the person you are trading with has reputations, has all the numbers and everything, as a way to start. So once your feet is in there, then you can start. Okay, now I need some legal counsels and all that. So yeah, but if you're starting, I don't think so.
Cool. To start, I don't think there are a lot of barriers to starting, besides, you also being careful, looking at the landscape, starting small, and then once you progress, then you can begin to make yourself more robust and protected. Okay, we'll take the last question before we say good night. But I think Joe also has touched up on this point. The question is, how do you cope with fluctuations in US Naira or fluctuations generally within the currency crypto space? and how do you protect yourself from, being wiped out from the market as a whole? And you can close with your general takeaways for us,
Okay,
Joe.
so this is actually a very good way to start. So what I would say is that think yourself as an engineer, right? As an engineer, you want to design a dam. Say, let's say a dam for sorry, not a dam, let's say a drainage system, right? As an engineer, you have no control the amount of rain that is going to fall or the volume of rain that is going to fall. So you shouldn't worry about that. How do you get? What you can do is to build a system. You build a drainage system that is wide enough to contain rainwater, so that the water is going to flow much more better without creating flood. When the downfall is heavy, you design a drainage system that makes sure that the water flows smoothly and you don't get drowned in the water, right? So what you can do is to create a system that ensures that there is margins, right? That make sure that if the rate falls down too much, you don't get caught, and it goes up too much, you also wouldn't make too much profit, but at least your profit is safe. You understand? So you have to learn how to actually set those guardrails to protect yourself from the market fluctuation. You cannot control those. The exchange rate is out of your control. There's nothing, even the biggest traders, there's nothing much you can do about those rates. It happens to everyone. You just have to learn how to set those guardrails to protect yourself from those fluctuations. So think yourself as an engineer, that keep yourself safe. So yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Focus on the things that are within your own control, and learn from the experiences that come after that. Deborah, uh, any final takeaways for us as we wrap up our conversation for tonight?
So I think, yeah, so Joe he's been amazing. Like, he's shared a lot. I don't think there's anything I want to say that will beat what he has shared. But yeah, like everything Joe said, basically. And also, please come try out Quidax P2P. We are the best in the market, and there is actually an incentive, when you come join us as well. And also, thanks to the people that have shared feedback. You're the ones making our P2P product better each day. So please keep the feedback coming. If you have more suggestions, please share. We are our support team. And yeah, we listen to you because we're with you in mind. And watch out for more updates and improvements to the P2P product.
Fantastic. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Joe. This has been really, really insightful, and I hope it has been for everyone as well. Thank you, Joe, for taking the time to share with us today. It has been great. Do you have anything you want to share that you haven't covered so far, Joe?
No, not. I mean, I could talk for hours, but we have to stick to the time and respect everybody's time. So maybe some other time we can share more about the business and trade. But for now, I don't really have much to share. Yeah,
I believe that everyone will be looking forward to another round of conversations with you. So on this note, good night and thank you for being here. Cheers, guys. Bye.